Hey everyone, this is Asma Khalid from Cloud Pages, and in today's video we will be talking about a brand new plugin which is Auto Optimize, which helps with optimizations and everything. So in this video we will be talking about how you guys can install the plugin and how you guys can configure it. So Auto Optimize is a free of cost plugin. It is kind of an alternative to LS Cache. Now with LS Cache you guys were getting your caching services which were really helpful in case your server was in strain or was under pressure. But with Auto Optimize, you guys can simply optimize your whole overall page performance, which also includes your JavaScript optimization, your CSS optimization, your HTML optimization, your image optimizations. And of course with image optimization you guys have to make sure that you're not using any other image optimization tools. For example, LS Cache is also has a built-in image optimization, so make sure that you disable it before you use this plugin. So without further ado, let's just jump to the video and we'll see how you guys can download it and how you guys can configure it and the overall performance and result of this plugin before and after configuring it. So without further ado, let's just go straight to the video. Okay guys, so first of all, I'm going to tell you that before we download and activate our Auto Optimize plugin and we customize it, I have already installed my Ocean WP theme on my site, as you guys can see right over here, so that it has some leverage to it, so it has some weight to it. And before we start downloading the plugin, I'm going to check the GTmetrix of my site, and after we activate it and customize it, we are going to check the GTmetrix again to check out what kind of performance enhancement it has done. So before doing any customization, I am going to check the GTmetrix of my site. Now it's going to take a couple of seconds. Okay, so the report is in. Right now it's doing relatively good. It has a fully loaded time of 2.0 seconds, and we can see the total page size is 1.12 MB. So now we're going to start customizing our site. Okay, so once I have come to my site's dashboard, simply go in the plugin section, click on add new. From here, search for Auto Optimize, and we are going to select the one with 1 million plus active installations. And once it's installed, simply click on activate to activate your plugin. So you guys can see that your plugin has been successfully been installed and activated. So simply click on the settings and we're going to start customizing it. So in the JS, CSS and HTML section, I'm going to show you that what we are going to change, what kind of customizations we are going to do. So first of all, click on Optimize JavaScript code. So it will optimize all your JavaScript codes from your site. It will minify all your JavaScript files on the go, which will eventually reduce the size of each file, and it will of course result in a better performance. So once you do that, you will have more options open to you. So click on aggregate JS files. It's already been activated over here. So by doing so, a single file is created when you select Auto Optimize's aggregate JS files option. So before this, WordPress optimization relied on combining JS and CSS files. Now for some types of WordPress sites, aggregating CSS and JS files will still cause a performance hit. So what I recommend is you check your site speed before you enable it, and then after you enable it, check out what kind of performance hit you're getting. Okay, so when you use JavaScript minification and combination, make sure to properly test your site and just ensure that everything is working perfectly. So once you enable it, the next thing that we're going to enable is also aggregate inline JS. Now auto optimize automatically extracts inline JS from the HTML and integrates it with its optimized JS file. When you select the option also aggregate inline JS, the other option can be left untouched since most of them aren't that much effective. So we're going to leave it as it is and we're going to move into our CSS options. Okay guys, so once you come into your CSS options, simply click on optimize CSS code. So once you do that, auto optimize will minify your CSS files. So if this is enabled, you can consider that all of your CSS files are minified. So what it does is basically it removes the blank spaces and it does some other kind of internal optimization. So next is we have opened a number of more options. Next, you can see that the aggregate CSS file has been automatically been enabled. And if it is not enabled, make sure that you enable it since it combines all of your CSS files into a single one using its aggregate CSS file options. And sites that implement HTTP/2 may not benefit from this feature. So if you are using that and it doesn't have any effect, don't worry about it. It is already pre-disclosed. So next is we are going to check the also aggregate inline CSS. So if it is not enabled, enable it. So this will move inline CSS to auto optimizes CSS file, resulting in a reduced page size. So basically it reduces all the overall size of the page, and and while transferring inline CSS to a browser, cacheable CSS file can reduce size. In most circumstances, we advocate deactivating this setting, but right now we are going to activate it and check out what kind of performance hit we are going to get for our site. So the next thing is generate data URIs for image. It is not enabled, so you have to enable it. So what it does is small background images are automatically encoded as base64 and embedded in CSS. So it's better again to check out the performance hit before enabling it and then after enabling it, just to give you a clear action of what kind of enhancement you are getting. Okay, so moving on to our HTML options, click on optimize HTML code. Now what it does is that HTML optimizations usually include removing spaces from your HTML. So it will decrease the overall size of the page. So we're going to select that. Next is the CDN option. Now if you are using Cloudflare, you don't have to enter anything over here, but if you're not using Cloudflare, you have to enter your CDN root URL. So since my site is using Cloudflare, so I'm not going to enter anything here. I'm going to simply skip this. Okay guys, so the next are my miscellaneous options. So in our miscellaneous options, we have a number of options which are already selected or enabled by default. So we are going to check out these things. So number one is save aggregated script CSS as static file. Now the aggregated files can be saved locally as static files if this option is enabled. So we're going to enable it, of course. Next is minify excluded CSS and JS files. So we are going to again enable it, since this option should be enabled to ensure that all CSS and JS files are minified. So we're going to select this one. Next is the enable 404 fallbacks. So now the missing files will be redirected to assist, prevent, or at least mitigate site breakdown. So what we're going to do is we're going to enable this, so it is possible to help out with our sites. Next is also optimize for logged in editors and administrators. So this should be enabled to guarantee that materials are optimized for logged in editors and administrators when testing auto optimize settings as a logged in user. This is critical, so make sure that you enable this. Lastly, we have the also optimize shop cart checkout. Now you don't have to select it if you don't have an e-commerce site. If you have an e-commerce site which has a section of cart or checkout, select this, enable this. But if you don't have it, don't worry about it, just skip it. Next is simply click on save changes and empty cache. So once you're done, I recommend that you go to your site, whatever your site is, and check out that whether JS, CSS, and HTML optimizations have not basically created some influx on your site, and it has not damaged, since changes in the CSS and in the CSS, JS, and HTML files might have some kind of major changes on your site. So make sure that that hasn't happened. So it's better to check out your site after every time you enable it, save it, and just check out your site again and again. Next is we're going to check out the images section. Now, before we check out the images section and start image optimization, there's a special note over here that if you are using some other kind of image optimization, for example, LS Cache has its own internal image optimization. If you have enabled that, there is no need to go with image optimization, but it is recommended that you turn those off and check out with this one. So when you click over here, simply click on optimize images. Okay, so what it does is that your website's URLs will be updated to point to short pixel CDN. Now this should have no effect how they look, as long as compression is lossless, but it will make them load faster. So once you do that, you can have the option of selecting image optimization quality. Now we have basically three kind of qualities. We have lossy, we have glossy, we have lossless. So with lossy, we have maximum compression and maximum quality loose. So of course, it's going to make your page size a lot smaller, but it's going to affect the quality of your images. Next is glossy. Now it will have medium level of compression and just a little bit of quality loss. So it's like kind of in the middle. And lastly, we have lossless. It has low compression and minimum quality loss, which means that the compression is little and the quality loss is little. So what we are going to do is we're going to select the glossy one, since it's like right in the middle of it. Okay, so next is we have load AVIF supported. So you can enable it, you cannot enable it, it's totally up to you. So lastly, we have the lazy load images. I'm going to select this one. So auto optimize includes lazy load functionality for images, which improves page speed for image heavy pages. So I'm going to enable it. Once I do that, I'm happy with it. I'm going to simply click on save changes. Okay, so once I'm done with that, next is I can click on extra. So this is going to give me some more options for optimizations. Okay, so we have Google Fonts, the first one. Now we can leave as it is, but it is not recommended. You can of course remove Google Fonts if you think that your site does not need Google Fonts, so you can simply remove it too. So, but I'm going to go with the next three options. Number one is combine the link in head, or combine the link deferred in head, or combine the load fonts asynchronously with web font .js. So I'm going to go with combine and link deferred in head font, which will mean that fonts load late but are not render blocking. So I'm going to go and select that one. Okay, next is I am going to remove the emojis. I'm going to enable this. So what this one does is that the CS and JavaScript associated to WordPress core emojis are removed with this auto optimize option. So I'm going to select this one. Next is I'm going to remove query strings from the static resources. So I'm going to select this one. So the removal of query strings will have no effect on load time, but it may enhance the site's rating when we go for the GTmetrix. So I'm going to go and select that one. Next is I'm going to simply save it. Now this is it. Now we have done a lot of critical optimizations. We have optimized the JS, CSS and HTML. We have optimized the images. We have done some extra optimizations. Of course, there are more options for you to optimize using this plugin. You can simply go and check those out too. So once you do that or you're happy with it, save it. I'm just saving it one more time just to be on the safe side. Once it's done, so I have completed my optimization process. Next is I'm going to go for the GTmetrix site and test my site again to check out what kind of enhancement my optimizations have done on my site. Okay, so of course again this is going to take a couple of seconds. It might be a little boring, so you guys can just simply skip to the result part. Okay, here we go. So right now our performance is 97%, structure is 94%, our fully loaded time is 1.5 second, which is a lot less. So let's check out and compare the both of them. So before it was 2.0 seconds, now it is 1.5 seconds. Before the total page size was 1.12 MB, now it's 707 KB, and the total page requests were 41, now it's 32. Everything is optimized to its optimal level. So we can successfully say that Auto-Optimize plugin has successfully optimized our website. So guys, that's it for today. If you still have any questions, just drop a comment in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe Cloud Pages.